The cold Chicago wind whips against Jamal Carter's cheeks as he steps off the city bus, his backpack straps digging into his shoulders. His mother spent the last of her savings to get them into a safer neighborhood, into a school known for its excellence, Roosevelt Preparatory Academy, a place where the lawns are perfectly trimmed and the walls look freshly polished every day. Jamal pauses at the entrance, staring up at the gleaming school logo. Students stroll by wearing designer jackets, shoes that cost more than his family's monthly groceries, and confidence like a second skin. They laugh loudly, talk about private clubs, ski vacations, colleges they already think they deserve. He adjusts his thrift store jacket, hoping it hides the patches on his sleeves. The halls inside are shiny and loud, filled with posters about art showcases, robotics competitions, and international language trips. He clutches his schedule tighter, hands trembling slightly, and silently prays no one notices just how different he looks. Growing up on the West Side, Jamal learned how to make himself small, not weak, just invisible enough to avoid trouble. He knows how quickly being seen can turn into being targeted. His first class is English. He finds an empty seat near the back, head down, eyes on his notebook. The whispering starts immediately. Not loud enough to accuse, but loud enough to judge. A new kid? Who's he? Look at his shoes. Jamal keeps breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just like his mom taught him whenever fear tried to take over. He reminds himself why he's here. A second chance. A better future. A place where his talent might finally matter. What none of them know is that behind his quiet posture and worn clothes is a prodigy. Fingers that command piano keys like they're extensions of his soul. Music that can silence chaos and build worlds. He hopes maybe, somehow, someone here will see that. But right now, all he feels are old fears in new hallways. As the bell rings and chatter fills the room, he presses his notebook flat against the desk, whispering to himself, "Stay focused. Don't let them break you before you even start." It's a good plan, a hopeful plan. But high school has a way of testing even the strongest plans. And Jamal's first test is waiting just around the corner. A test that doesn't care about talent, only about where he's from and who they think he is. The cafeteria is loud, alive, and completely overwhelming. Every table looks like it has already chosen who gets to sit there. Jamal walks slowly, food tray trembling in his hands, searching for an empty spot where he can disappear. Before he can make a decision, a body steps directly into his path. Tall, broad-shouldered, confident in the way only someone who has never been challenged can be. Chase Maddox, star basketball forward, rich family, popular by default. A smirk spreads across Chase's face as he looks Jamal up and down, not really looking, more like assigning him a category. "So, you're the new kid," he says, loud enough for surrounding tables to turn their heads. Jamal swallows quietly. "Yeah, just trying to find a place to sit." Chase's smirk widens into something uglier. "Well, this school isn't really your place?" Jamal blinks in confusion. What's that supposed to mean? Chase leans closer, lowering his voice, but making sure everyone still hears. "I mean, you don't fit in here. Not in the advanced classes, not in the sports teams, not in this cafeteria. Maybe try the back corner where the charity cases sit." Snickers break out around them. Jamal feels his ears burn. The weight of every stare sinks into his skin like sharp pins. He tightens his grip on his tray so it doesn't shake visibly. "I'm not here to make trouble," Jamal replies quietly. "I just want to learn and mind my own business." Chase bumps his shoulder hard. "No, see, you don't get to just mind your business here. You stay in your lane. Don't act like you're on the same level as us." Us. Them. Lines drawn fast. Jamal's heart races, but he keeps his eyes steady. He refuses to let Chase see fear. "I'm not trying to be on any level," he says calmly. "I'm just trying to eat." Chase tilts his head like he's amused that Jamal still dares to speak. "You'll learn quickly," he says. "This school has a way of putting nobodies back in their place." His friends laugh again, a chorus of approval behind their leader. Jamal steps around him, choosing peace over ego, and finds a small table in the corner near the vending machines. He sits alone, but not defeated. Still, as he picks at his food, the laughter continues from across the room. Chase is still watching him, still smiling that cruel smile that says, "You're not one of us. You never will be." Jamal stares at the piano room sign across the hall, a small spark flickering in his chest. They don't know him. They don't know what he carries in his hands and heart. They don't know the music waiting to be heard. Not yet. He takes a slow breath and straightens up. They'll see, he tells himself. Sooner or later, they'll all see. The bell rings, signaling the end of a long and draining day, but Jamal doesn't head straight home. Instead, he wanders the hall, pretending to search for his next class until the crowd thins. When the hallway finally empties, his eyes drift toward the music wing. He walks slowly, almost reverently, like someone approaching a sacred place. The door to the practice room is slightly open and a soft hum of silence invites him in. Inside, sunlight spills across a glossy black grand piano. Polished, perfect, majestic. Jamal steps closer and rests his hand on the cool surface. Memories hit him like a flood. His grandmother's living room, a beat-up upright piano. Her gentle voice, "Play your heart into the keys, baby. That's where your power lives." She was the first person who ever believed he was meant for something bigger than struggle. Every key he ever touched since then carried her belief forward. Jamal looks around to make sure he's alone, then quietly sits on the bench. His fingers hover over the keys, trembling not from fear now, but from anticipation. He plays the first note. It rings pure, like a truth spoken aloud, then another, and another. Soon, he's lost in a world only music builds. His fingers dance with grace and precision across the keyboard. Fluid arpeggios, bold chords, melodies layered with emotion he can't speak, but can pour freely into sound. The walls pulse with his talent. The whole room seems to hold its breath. What Jamal doesn't know is that he's not as alone as he thinks. Outside the door, Ms. Reyes, the music teacher, stops mid-step. She listens, astonished. The kind of astonishment that makes a person feel like they've stumbled upon something rare. She opens the door slowly, letting herself witness the rest. Jamal finishes the final run, fingers landing softly on the last chord, letting it bloom into silence. He exhales, heart racing, not from nerves, but from release. Music always makes him feel weightless, like all the world's judgment slips off his shoulders for a moment. He jumps slightly when he hears clapping. He spins around. Ms. Reyes stands there, eyes shining with pure excitement. "That was incredible," she says. Where did you learn to play like that?" Jamal's voice is almost shy. "My grandma taught me, and I practiced. A lot." "A lot?" She laughs gently. "That's the kind of skill people train years to achieve." "Jamal, have you ever performed publicly?" He hesitates. He doesn't want attention. He doesn't want chase. He just wants to exist without being crushed. "A bit," he admits. Ms. Reyes gives a warm, full smile. "I'm directing the school's music showcase next week. You're performing. End of discussion." His heart leaps into his throat. Perform? On stage? In front of everyone who already decided he doesn't belong? He wants to say no. Fear tries to wrap around his ribs. But then he remembers Chase's voice. "You'll never fit in." Jamal looks at the piano again, at the proof of who he really is. Finally, he nods. "Okay, I'll do it." Ms. Reyes beams, already planning everything. As she leaves the room, Jamal touches the piano once more, like making a promise to it, or to himself. They think he's nobody. They think he's weak. They think he's invisible. Soon, they're going to find out exactly who he is. The auditorium buzzes with the energy of teenagers who came to be entertained, not enlightened. The stage lights glow bright gold against the red curtains. Students crowd into seats with popcorn and jokes, ready to judge, ready to laugh, ready to decide who's cool and who's cringe. Backstage, Jamal paces in the shadows, his palms sweating. His black button-down isn't expensive, but he ironed it twice this morning, hoping it would give him courage. His heart beats so loudly he's afraid the audience might hear it. Ms. Reyes kneels beside him, adjusting the spotlight to his height. "You were born for this," she whispers. "Play like the world disappears." He nods, but anxiety claws at him, because he knows who is sitting out there. Chase, front row, legs stretched, arms crossed, smirk ready. His friends chuckle while pointing at the program list. "Jamal Carter? Who even is that?" "Probably gonna play chopsticks." Jamal closes his eyes for one deep breath, Don't let fear speak louder than your music. The announcer's voice booms, now performing Jamal Carter, Nocturne in E minor. A murmur ripples through the crowd. The stage lights blind him as he steps out. Suddenly, the auditorium feels too big, too bright. He hears someone whisper, "That's the new kid?" Another voice, "Oh, this'll be good." He sits at the piano bench and places his trembling fingers on the keys. For a split second, he feels tiny again. The laughter, the stares, the reminders that he doesn't belong, all of it threatens to drown him. Then, he imagines his grandmother beside him. "Play your heart into the keys, baby." He presses the first note. A soft tone drifts across the room. Then another. Then a melody begins to form. Fragile at first, then rich and commanding. The auditorium falls silent. Jamal's fear melts away as the music takes over. His fingers glide with lightning precision, emotion pouring from every key. The notes rise like bravery, like defiance, like truth no one can deny. He plays pain. He plays hope. He plays who he really is. Every eye is locked on him. Even Chase's smirk is gone, replaced by wide confusion. Jamal's final run climbs like a heartbeat reaching strength. The last chord hangs in the air, suspended, breathtaking, before fading into perfect silence. No one moves. Then, in a shockwave of recognition, the crowd erupts. Cheers, whistles, hands banging together so loud the room shakes. Students leap to their feet, a roaring, standing ovation. Jamal sits frozen, trying to understand what just happened. All he did was tell his story through music, and somehow the whole school heard him loud and clear. Even from the stage, he can see Chase. Jaw dropped, ego shattered, reality rewritten. Jamal stands, bowing with humility. But inside, something powerful rises. Belonging. Earned. Not asked for. He walks off stage to applause that feels like redemption, and for the first time in a long time, he lets himself smile. The applause keeps roaring long after Jamal disappears into the backstage wings. His heart is still racing, his fingers still tingling with leftover electricity from the performance. He leans against the wall, breathing hard, trying to steady himself. He came on stage a ghost and stepped off a storm. Then, the auditorium lights shift. The principal, Dr. Hayworth, walks onto the stage with a microphone in hand. She's a reserved woman, known more for strict rules than sentiment. But right now, her eyes shine with unmistakable excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," she begins, and the crowd slowly settles back into their seats, though their energy still crackles in the air. "I would like to say a few words about the remarkable talent we just witnessed." Backstage, Jamal freezes. Dr. Hayworth looks toward him through the side curtain, not at him like a student, but like a prodigy. "Jamal Carter is not only new to Roosevelt Prep," she says, her voice rising with pride, "he is a national junior piano champion." Gasps echo throughout the room. Chase's friends look at each other in disbelief. He has performed at the Chicago Symphony Center and has been awarded multiple scholarships from some of the most prestigious music academies in the country. Jamal feels his knees weaken, not from fear this time, but from shock that she is revealing everything he worked so hard to keep hidden. "Furthermore," Dr. Hayworth continues, "we are honored to announce that Jamal is officially enrolling in our advanced music program as our youngest ever featured performer." The crowd bursts into applause again, louder, wilder. Jamal feels a rush of warmth flood his chest. This isn't just attention. This is acknowledgement. This is belonging. The principal lifts a hand to quiet the crowd, her next words gentle but powerful. It takes tremendous courage to step onto a stage in a new place. Tonight, he didn't just show us music. He showed us heart, excellence, and authenticity. Roosevelt Prep is proud to have him here. She turns toward the wings and smiles. "Welcome home, Jamal." The words hit him deeper than any music ever has. For the first time since he walked into this school, he doesn't feel like an outsider pretending to fit. He feels like a student with a future that everyone can see now. The applause rises once more, shaking the rafters. And backstage, Jamal stands taller than he ever thought he could. The next morning, Jamal walks into school with the same backpack, the same jacket, the same worn shoes. Nothing about his appearance has changed. Yet everything feels different. As soon as he steps into the hallway, heads turn, but not with ridicule or confusion this time. He hears whispers followed by excited smiles. That's him, the piano guy. He was insane on stage. I didn't even know someone our age could play like that. A few students approach him shyly, like meeting a celebrity. Dude, last night, wow. You gotta teach me how to move my hands like that. You're joining the jazz band, right? Jamal laughs softly, still not used to being noticed for something good. He thanks them, modest and polite. Compliments feel strange. Not because he doesn't think he earned them, but because he spent so long surviving in silence. As he opens his locker, someone clears their throat behind him. A familiar voice, timid, no longer mocking. Chase. He isn't surrounded by his usual group. He isn't wearing his usual smirk. He stands awkwardly, rubbing the back of his neck. His eyes avoid Jamal's for a moment before finally meeting them. I, Chase starts, but his voice falters. Apologies don't come easily to people who think they're always right. Look, man, I didn't know who you were. Jamal closes his locker gently and faces him fully. You didn't want to know, he replies. Not cruel, not dramatic, just true. Chase swallows. There's no comeback, no excuse that can erase yesterday's words. You were incredible last night, he manages. Seriously. For the first time, Chase looks small, not physically, but in the honesty of being wrong. Jamal studies him for a moment. He could be cruel back. He could humiliate him in return. He could remind him how quickly tables turn. Instead, Jamal gives a simple nod. Thanks. Chase nods too. It's the closest he's ever come to respect. As he walks away to join his friends, they look at him differently, like he's the one trying to catch up now. Jamal turns back to his books, and a quiet smile spreads across his face. Respect wasn't demanded. Respect wasn't begged for. Respect was earned. And not because he changed, but because he was finally seen. He heads toward the music room, feeling lighter with each step, because the hallway that once made him feel invisible is now filled with people who finally understand who he is, and this is only the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Jamal's life changes in ways he never expected. The music room becomes his second home. He spends hours there after school, the piano lid always open like it's waiting for him. Students stop by just to listen. Some bring snacks and sit on the floor while he practices. Others ask questions about music or just about him. They want to know the kid they once ignored. Teachers greet him by name now. His English teacher recommends him for honors classes. His counselor talks to him about college scholarships. Ms. Reyes beams every time he walks into the room. But the best part? Jamal's confidence grows quietly, like a steady drumbeat under everything he does. One afternoon, as he's finishing a piece, someone knocks on the practice room door. Jamal turns to see Chase leaning in the doorway. No entourage. No smirk. Just a boy trying his best. Hey, Chase says, can you show me something? Anything? I've never touched a piano before. Jamal studies him for a moment. This is a choice point. Bitterness or growth. He scoots over on the bench and pats the empty space beside him. Yeah, I can show you. Chase sits awkwardly, fingers stiff and unsure. Jamal laughs gently, guiding his hands. Relax. Music doesn't work when you're tense. Just listen to the sound, then feel it. Chase presses a key, just one, and his face lights up at the soft note. That's kinda cool, he admits. Jamal nods. Everyone starts somewhere. There is no audience, no judgment. Just two boys building something better than distance. When Chase stands to leave, he says quietly, You were right. I didn't want to know who you were. I'm glad I do now. After he leaves, Jamal touches the keys one more time. The sound rings warm, true, free. He thinks back to his first day, the cold silence, the forced invisibility, the fear that history would repeat itself. Now the same halls that once felt hostile are filled with nods, smiles, and, Hey, Jamal, from every direction. He didn't change to fit in. He believed in who he already was, and that changed everything around him. Jamal picks up his backpack and heads into the hallway. The afternoon light shines through the windows, hitting him like a spotlight that finally sees its star. He walks forward knowing one thing for certain. Belonging isn't something someone else hands you. It's something you build with courage, with talent, with truth. And Jamal Carter? He is just getting started.